Hello YouTube, this is Bowtied Media, and today I have a review of Party Favor's The Isolation album. Party Favour is most known for his trap and electro house production style, but most specifically for his individual songs in Bowtied and his remix of Rake It Up with Diplo. This project, The Isolation album, is quite simply just a collection of projects and short tracks that Party Favour worked on during isolation and or never finished because of isolation. So in reality, this project is really a mishmash of ideas, production styles, genres, and I guess narrative elements, if there is any, to create this kind of project that really has no cohesion to it. The length of tracks pretty much are on one side or another. They're either about a minute or a minute and a half to almost 5 minutes or 4 minutes. There's really no in between. There's a few in the 3 minute mark and one in the 4, but it's pretty much just one or the other. And some of you may be thinking, okay, it's an EDM album. If there's a minute and 20 tracks, a lot of them are just transitions or something like that. No, not really. They're not really any transitions at all, and they don't sound like it, and they're not prepared to be as if. You can really feel the poor sense of cohesion between tracks with the first two in Euphoria and Pizza Rat. Euphoria is this beautiful, chill-out, trip-hop track that I expected from an album like this, something made in isolation, and before even listening to it, I expected a track like this. It feels like a breath of fresh air for both Party Favour and just the EDM industry as a whole right now, where everyone is kind of all over the place, not sure what to do, and it feels like a nice, relaxing, okay, things will eventually be okay. But then, as soon as it's done, it goes into the shortest and I think worst track on the LP in Pizza Rat. It sounds like a trap sample, almost. It sounds like a sample that was turned into a quick minute and, 12-second song, and there's just nothing to this. I don't know why the song was created. The song sounds like something an up-and-coming EDM producer would put out. It's short and boring and without any real content. And that is my biggest problem with this LP, is there's no really one style or creative direction that Party Favour goes for throughout this entire project. And yes, I know having more styles and all that can work really, really well, but it's just so opposite ends of the spectrum that there's not even like this nice cohesion between them. If Euphoria and Pizza Rat sound super abrupt to you, the transition between the two, especially when listening to it front to back, you're not going to like this album because it's full of it. The whole project bounces back and forth between this really nice euphoric sound of almost like a dream state and then a minute song that's just trap. It's just a trap track for a minute and it sounds like something that he never finished. While Party Favour is not really known for his chill and cinematic style tracks, they are easily the best on the Isolation album, and I don't know why the whole thing wasn't created just like these songs. There are these songs halfway through the album that I have dubbed the Trilogy of Chill, and they start with What I Imagine Flying Feels Like, It Never Rains in LA, and It Might Not Seem Like It Right Now, But Things Get Better, which is an awful name for a title of the song, by the way. But each of these tracks are a beautiful exploration of what kind of isolation feels like and the coming out of it that we eventually will encounter. For at least these songs, there's this kind of thematic element that Party Favour is going for with this Isolation album that you can really feel, especially with these three songs, of this feeling of the dream state, like I said earlier, and the idea that, like the last song of this trilogy says, while things kind of suck now, they're gonna get better. The only question I have then is, why wasn't the whole project like this? Why didn't Party Favour just go with all tracks with this euphoric feeling, rather than bouncing back and forth to the boring, uninspiring, short trap tracks? If the whole project was like this, I really think it would be an under-the-radar top album of the year for me, and it's just not. It felt like Party Favour put a lot of time and energy into creating the chill tracks, and then went to the trap ones, was just like, whatever I have in my whips, I'll just put together and make this track. Oh, this wasn't going to get released, we'll just put it on the album. I would have way rather had a small, refined EP of either one of these styles than this entire project. There is just no creative direction and or any theme or anything that puts it all together. And the more I listened to this album, the more the trap tracks really got annoying for me. And I just felt like the chill ones could have really been an album by itself. And for the most part, the trap tracks aren't just bad because they're short and kind of boring or whatever. They just weren't great. They didn't feel like they had the greatest production, and they were just not there. I don't know why these trap songs are in this album. Songs like Medium Rare are not a bad standalone track, but they're really, really short, and I don't think would really see the sunlight in any other capacity other than just a filler on an album, if not explored in a deeper capacity. But Celery Juice is my favorite of these kind of harder hitting tracks, and I think it feels like it has its own little atmosphere just in this individual song that it really felt like Party Favour put a lot of time and energy into this specific song and not any of the others. It feels like it really has its own unique style and feeling, but it's just so absent in the rest of the trap tracks. I think this one could have really used some TLC and released as a single outside of this album. It really feels like there are two smaller EPs that have intermingled themselves and disguised themselves as a full-length album, when it's really not true. And while the lighter chill stuff does bookend the album at the beginning and the end and in the middle, the filler of the boring trap tracks are just, they're not enough for me to give this album a great review. I love the lighter stuff. It would be great on a project by itself, but the trap stuff just, it ruins it for me. Just because you call a project the Isolation album, I don't think gives you any more or greater reason to just put random stuff together and not put a lot of time into it and just release it and be like, hey guys, this is what I did during Isolation. I just don't think it works like that. I think this is a perfect time to explore more experimental stuff in your production style, and Party Favour definitely does that with the euphoric, dreamy tracks on this album, but then goes back and produces what feel like whips, and it's not great. Overall, this album, Party Favour, the Isolation album, is going to get a 4. But thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Bowtied Media. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. Let me know if any new stuff you want me to review that's coming out soon or coming out or just came out in the past. I'm looking at stuff just from 2020 so far. But leave a like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I will see you guys in another video.